Hello, today we're going to be learning about pattern matching in F# by Sebastian Andrews. Pattern matching allows you to compare data with a logical structure or structures, decompose data into constituent parts, or extract information from data in various ways. This is basic usage. So we match our expression with part 1. If that's true, we go to result 1. If part 2 is true, we go to result 2. When part 3 is true and this expared 2 here is true, we go to result 3. And then we go to our default if none of these are true and go to our default result. So we have some symbols we're going to be using. This pipe here is a guard that defines a condition also, and it's also used as an OR. This is for the if condition. If it's true, then do whatever's after. This here is a wildcard. Our ampersand is an AND pattern, and this is our cons pattern. So our basic types in F# are lists. This is how you create a list. This is how you create an array. Our tuples, we have a basic boolean here, true or false. Char is just one character. String is a variation of characters. We have integers and also floats. So here we have our first example. Let rec fib n equal match n with. So we pass through an n to our Fibonacci, and what we're saying here is match n with any of these. So if n is 0, return 0. If n is 1, return 1. Otherwise, call our Fibonacci again, n minus 1 plus Fibonacci n minus 2. And so down here, this for loop here calls our function and with 1 through all the way to 10. So this is how we call it here. We say print, and our actual calling statement is here, is fib I. So this will take each I as it increments the for loop, plug it into our Fibonacci, and then come up here. And then whatever it returns, it'll print out here. So you can take a second to pause the video and try to figure out what the output is, but we'll go over the output here in a second. Okay, now that you've gone over the output, let's go over it again. So the first time, we're going to get Fibonacci 1, 1. And then the second time the for loop goes through, it passes through 2, so we'll get 1. And then 3, it goes to 2, and so on and so forth. So 4 to 3, it keeps doing the Fibonacci sequence all the way down to 10. Alright, here's our example 2. Let print season month equal, we match our month with any of these. So down here we're calling our print season, and we're passing in February. So it comes down here, or it comes up here, our month is here, and it says match our month, which is February, with December or January or February. In this case, this first part's going to be true. This is going to execute and just print here winter. And so on and so forth, all the way through. And if it gets through and can't find, if it doesn't match any of these OR statements here, then it'll come down to our wildcard and just print our default setting here. So let's go through these 4. Now this next time it calls it says April. So it comes in here, our month, we're matching our month with none of these. It's not December, or it's not January, or it's not February, so it comes back down to here to our guard, which is also an OR. This is how they're used. It says March and or April, and this is correct, so we print spring. And then we do the same thing for November. We come up here, we pass November through. It's not going to be any of these, it's not any of these, it's not any of these, it's not any of these, and then it goes from September or October or November. That's where we are, so it prints autumn. And now the next is July. So we're going to go through it again, and we find our July here, and it's going to print rainy. Now let's look at the answers and make sure we got this right. Winter, spring, autumn, and rainy. Looks like we got it right. Okay, now we're going to go over our when statement. You can use a when clause to specify additional conditions that the variable must satisfy to match a pattern. Such a clause is referred to as a guard. The expression following the when keyword is not evaluated unless a match is made to the pattern associated with that guard. Alright, let sign equal function. So if we're passing through a 0, then it returns 0. If whatever we're passing through x, when x is less than 0, then it's going to print a negative 1. And then whatever x is, when x is greater than 0, we're going to print a 1. So let's see here. Printf %d sign -20. So we're going to pass that through, and it's not 0, so this isn't going to work. And it says when x, which is 20, when x is less than 0. So -20 is less than 0, so we're going to print -1. For the next one, we have 0, or we have 20. So we're going to go through. 20 is not 0. 20 is not less than 0, but 20 is greater than 0, so we're going to print 1. And then our third print here, we're calling our sign with 0. Sign comes up here to our function, because sign equals our function. 0 is equal to 0, so it's returning 0. So this is going to print 0. Let's see if we are correct. And that's what we said. It's going to print -1, 1, and 0. And this is our example 2 with the when. So now we're saying this here just went down. This is supposed to be up here, but since it's so long, it went down here. So this isn't a different guard. It's only going to look at these 3 guards. Alright. Compare int 11 and 25. So we pass both of these through as a tuple.
Sorry, I don't know that.
Alright, Alexa. So now we have var1 and var2. When var1 is greater than var2, we print this is greater than that. Our var1 is greater than our var2. So that is not correct. So we go down to our next one. We have 11 for var1 and 25 for var2. So we pass through our tuple. When var1 is less than var2, which is correct, we're going to print 11 is less than 25. And our var1 here and our var2. So how about you plug in these next 2 and see what you get. I'll give you a second here to do that. Alright, we'll go to the next slide, and this is what we said here. 11 is less than 25. And the second one is 72 is greater than 10. And the third one is 0 equals 0. So we're doing another pattern matching with tuples. So now we have this let greeting, name and subject. So when you call greeting with your tuple, it's going to put Zara into name, and subject is going to be English. So now we're going to match name and subject with. If it's 0, we don't care what the second one is. We're just going to print 0. And that's what our first one's doing here. Now our second one is Raymond Computer Science. So it goes through. This first one here, this first name isn't computer science, so it's not going to keep going through. Second one here, it's not going to keep going. So now we're going to come down here, and this it's name and underscore, so that matches what we have because it's just name and underscore, and our this is our wildcard, so it doesn't matter what that is, and this is just our variable. So when subject starts with comp, which it does here, then hello name, which is Raymond from the Department of Computer Science. Now go through the last one, see if you can pause the video and see if you can do the last one. So this is what we got for the first one. And this is what we got for the second one. And hopefully this is what you got for the third one. If you didn't, go back and try it again. Okay, this is list with our pattern matching. So our list length is just going to print out the length of our list. So we pass through this first one, we have a 1, come through. This is not empty, so we're not going to print this. But this is true here. We have another guard where if there's 1 here, that's what the wildcard's doing, is just saying there's only 1 inside of our list, we print out 1. Then we have a list length of 1 and 1. We have 1, we go back through, this means there's only 2 things in our list, so it's going to print 2. And for the third one, it's going to pass, sorry about that, it's going to pass through our list containing 3 1s. Which goes through, it's not empty, there's not only 1, there's not only 2, but there's 3. So it's going to return 3. And then for our last one here, we're passing through an empty list, so then it matches our empty list here and prints out 0. So now we have a cons pattern. We're pretty much just printing our list here. So this is our let list 1 equal this. So when we print our list 1, print list on list 1, it's going to take our list 1 here, place it through our print list, and match this with whatever we have. So this is our variable here. If our head and tail, then print the head and then move on to the tail. So what this is doing is printing out each value in our list here. So first it comes through, prints out the head, calls it again with the tail. So it's going to print out 1, then it's going to print out 2, then it's going to print out 3, then it's going to print out 4, and then our list is empty, so it's going to come down here and print out nothing. Alright, now we have an array pattern. So this is going to print out our vector length. Kind of like how we did before, but with arrays instead of lists. So our vector length here, our vector, is going to be, for our first one, is this. We have match our vector with this, so there's only 1 in here, so we're going to just print out what's inside of it. And then now, if there's 2 things, for our second one here, we're going to say the square root times our first one times our first one plus our second one times our second one. And for this third print, it's going to go through, come down to our third one here because we have 3 variables inside of it. And then we're going to take the square root of each variable multiplied by itself and then summed up. And then now we're passing through an empty array. So we're going to print out vector length called with the unsupported array size of blank, and it's going to give us our, or not blank, it's going to give us our vector length here, so it'll be 0. And that's the end of our show. I hope you enjoyed our pattern matching in F#.